Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers! Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, thinking proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out, all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at another show, another stream, another live. You know where you're at. You're at Spartans. You know where I'm your host, the Spartan, aka Peter. How is everybody doing tonight? Tonight we have a clash, but we've done this before. The clash was epic the first time, so I felt it's time to redo it a little bit in 2025, and it's needs to be redo right now because this is going to be an argument for the generations. As long as these two IPs are out, they're going to be around. They're going to argue. The question is, who is better, Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? Both respectfully have their movies. Both respectfully have their games. Both have respectively have their spin-offs, cartoons, and comic books. So the question is now, which franchise is better? And there's a catch-22 for me because I like both. That's the hardest part for me. The hardest part for me is, how do I pick which one is better? That is the hardest thing for me. Because like I said, I feel both have their own equals in each one. Like, if I had to say which one no, I'm not gonna do that. Before I say that, for example, both are martial arts. Oh my! Fuck you. The old comment number one, asshole. Yeah. What's going on, my man? How are you been tonight? So both of martial arts, so I gravitated to both series very well. but both have very strong arguments here. This is a class I'm not going to agree on at any shape, way, or form because I like both. All right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, let's get my little helper here, our friend, our ugly little Groot.
Yeah, Paul.
I think something's stuck in your throat.
That's right. Bear paw.
I think you have something stuck in your throat. You need to wrench it out.
No, it called bear paw.
Maybe you got
I'm a grizzly bear.
maybe you got pubic hair. All right, my man, you got that. Let's get that shit out of the way. Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. Either way you want to call it, whatever. Which one is it? Your favorite? Hang up before you answer. Yes, you can. I will drop the link right now for you. You're more welcome to come in as soon as possible. And I'm gonna post the rules right now as we do that. Go ahead. Before
Here's how hard it is to differentiate the two because first and foremost, if anybody's heavy on gaming like I have, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter is an internal rival, number one. Number two, they're the two standard fighting games right now in the Evo competition right now. Meaning when they do the Evo competition every year, either based on Street Fighter or based on Mortal Kombat. The third one is actually Tekken, but we're not gonna bring that to the conversation yet. But
Taking doesn't have no
no, no,
ledge.
no, no, you cannot even say that because if you watch fighting competition Evo,
I'm not saying
EVO,
that, David, because Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter have been around longer.
it's been
That's
around
why I'm
longer.
saying
Yes,
they're
it's been around
more
longer.
legends.
But at the same time, Tekken is also a legend as well. And mind you, it did a crossover with Tekken with Street Fighter on top of that. That's show how big the game is.
I was never a big fan of Tekken, to be honest with you.
I've been no me. I was a fan of Tekken because it's more three dimensional than Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was trying to be three dimensional at one point. Don't get me wrong. I grew up in the arcade game area, and although arcade center you to go to, there's only three games that everybody beef around. Street Fighter was number one, Mortal Kombat was number two, Tekken was number three. That's never going to change.
Like I
But like
said,
I said,
even my
they're
friends
all
they were
different.
never been big Tekken fans. Everybody has been a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. That's the
Oh,
argument.
you have no idea. Trust
Oh, I
me.
played them. I know what I'm saying.
I know, but
Let's
Tekken,
let's, let's stay on course here.
I'm gonna
You're
tell of course.
easy.
I'm
Yeah,
a
you've
heavy.
already.
I'm a heavy gamer. That's what I know about it. And believe me when I say this, Street Fighter was no different that way either because Street Fighter was a heavy betting going on. Mortal Kombat there was heavy betting going on as well as Tekken. Street Fighter did made it make a big deal because one time somewhere in Japan, somebody made the one of the ultimate block, they block all the parry of Chun Li. That was a big deal. Mortal Kombat is super iconic based on how the game got started. And first and foremost, if everybody know about the history of Mortal Kombat, Congress was trying to block that game if you were there from the very beginning. It was considered to be very brutal, more adult theme. But a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids love that game. When I say Congress was looking forward to shut that game down, that what made it iconic for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
For the
I
brother
agree.
that so I remember those days.
Yeah.
So that was a
So,
big deal. But it's hard for me to pick either one of them because
both are
one,
good.
Street Fighter led the way. Street Fighter was the number one fighting game I've heard for a very long time. There was no other game that could compete with it until Mortal Kombat came into play. Different to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, there was more goriness in Mortal Kombat in the fight scene and everything that made it more intriguing than Street Fighter. Street Fighter was more of the combo. They can get off that. Now, when you're an expert gamer, you go to that next level. You can figure out how to block, how to do certain things. People call it the term cheating. Anybody who been out there back in the day when you were playing Street Fighter in the arcade, I've been there. When you find a glitch into the game and you figure out how to cheat your way out of it, people complain about it. But that was the technique anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Out here in Brooklyn, among the hood, they call it cheating. Oh, how you use guile and block my move and you grab me. Oh, that's cheat. But people don't understand. Everything's the technique. They don't like it when it happened to them.
Yeah, it's I call it control codes. You go up, up, down, left, right, right, left, left. To do it like it's like, but yeah. Before we move on, I just want to remind everybody the rules on the stream, because I know you know. Cause the rules of the stream are simple: no smoking on camera, no eating on camera. Greg, sorry, I got struck by YouTube. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting striked again.
Like eating?
Please dress
What
appropriately.
eating?
I'm joking, bro. I'm joking.
Why are we hungry? No eating? Wow, that's crazy.
You can turn your camera off a few minutes if you need to put something in your
So
mouth.
if I eat a gummy, that's it, right?
I'll go in the kitchen.
Can I finish, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Please dress appropriately. Mic must be on and camera must be on. Those are pretty obvious, obviously.
Just
If you guys would
appropriate.
need it,
Do I need a
listen.
tie?
Huh?
Just appropriate. You say just appropriate. Do I need a tie?
No, I mean, okay. Here's the story why these rules started. You probably remember this, Greg. You were on that stream. We had this guy from down under, from what's it called Australia. He was smoking. He
I
was not
remember.
wearing a shirt. He's missing half his fucking teeth, probably too. And he was like it was bad, bro. Like I asked him several times, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, please stop smoking on camera. Put a shirt on. He didn't want to fucking listen. You know, my boy over here, our UK boy over here, he had to jump in and said, "Yo, dude, shut the fuck up, seriously." Like he was
No, you telling the truth because
these rules are there.
you two have very very strict rules. Which I
These
understand.
rules are for everybody. They're not only protecting me and the network we're building. It's for you guys too. It's for everybody around. We're on the par. But
I remember
let's
that.
get our UK boy in here. See, what do you feel about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat? Let me hear your take of it.
Pardon? Sorry, can you rephrase that? I can barely hear you.
Say
Sorry,
again.
can you rephrase what you were saying?
What's your take on Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter?
Brilliant games, great movie. Never saw the Street Fighter movie. If they were making one or not, I couldn't remember. No?
All right, so they made two Street Fighter movies, if I remember correctly. One
never
was
saw
in
them.
1998, is it? I believe.
Never saw it.
Eric, what year was the Street Fighter movie? Can you post it in the chat, please? So
Eric already not your encyclopedia.
he's our unofficial pop
Fact
culture fact checker, pretty much.
Didn't they make 3 Mortal Kombat movies?
They make 3 for no, they're about to make 4. Wait, hold on.
I'm looking up right now.
Because I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat.
I think they made 3
I
or
like the
4.
music.
It's almost 3 or 4. Kind of the first 2. The first one was all right. Second one was busts. They bought the third one. I think the third one was the one that came out. They're working on number 4 right now, as we speak. But a lot more animated Mortal Kombat movies as well. I remember. For Street Fighter, the first one extremely sucks.
All right, so according to Eric, it came in 94. It wasn't bad for the time, but it aged horribly. In the box office, it got crucified. So technically, with Street Fighter, is more than 2 movies. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 movies.
On Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter. Because they're counting the anime ones as movies too.
It is.
Oh.
What you refer to if it's live action or animated movies. Live action movie or Street Fighter extremely sucks. The animated movie or Street Fighter,
I can't comment on the movie because I've never seen it. That's
No
why I
comment.
said I don't know if they made a movie or not. I've never seen it, so I can't comment on it.
Mortal Kombat.
David, as you know, I'm not a big fan of anime. But
Fighting words.
But Mortal Kombat, I loved both movies. As I said, I don't know if there's more Mortal Kombat movies. I thought they were making a third one. It's either a remake or a carry on from whatever. but I thought both of those movies were awesome. I
So
used to-
Mortal Kombat has 4 movies technically.
does
So
it?
yes, the first ones I'm gonna get your order right now. The first one's going 95. The second one
Yeah.
97. The
Yeah.
reboot was 21, and the new one is coming on next year 26. And they're already getting destroyed with reviews already. They're saying it's gonna be a really bad movie so far.
Well, after the first two movies, they just get stupid, don't they?
No, the
Here's
first
the
one was
thing different about
1995, not 1994.
here's the thing what Mortal Kombat did right versus Street Fighter. I think they did wrong. They listened to their audience with the first one, so they really followed the game lore pretty close to it, not to the T, but close to it. The second
Yeah.
one is sucked ass, in my opinion. As a kid, it was good. Well, oh my god, this is Mortal Kombat. It's cool. Do.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
Powers,
I can't dance.
Scorpion.
I can't sing. I know.
Let me help you with that. It was actually 3 movies next year. This year, next year will be the next one for the fourth one.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
Mortal
list right
Kombat
now.
1995 was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, right? It was alright to a certain degree. Mortal Kombat 2, The Annihilation 1997 was directed by John R. Leonetti, who screwed it up. It would be the direct sequel to the 1995 movie, loosely based on Mortal Kombat 3. That didn't do too well. Mortal Kombat 2021, the reboot, was directed by Simon McQuoid, which kind of like did a franchise reboot with modern audience. And I will
David, time
ethically
out. You
say
said Mortal Kombat 3?
Yeah.
that the second one was based on Mortal Kombat 3 game.
Oh, okay. No, I thought I said 3 as a movie. I apologize. Okay.
No, it was loosely based on. I mean, when they did the Annihilation, it was based on Mortal Kombat 3, but was poorly done by that
Okay.
The
director.
second one I still thought was quite good if you followed the moral of the story.
Yeah, they did. The first one was pretty
That's
okay.
one thing they did really well. Like I said, Mortal Kombat is always pretty, except the 21 and 26.
I've not seen those, so I can't comment.
21, I liked it actually.
Well,
I
21
can't
did
comment.
better.
I said I didn't. I knew there was 1 and 2, but I didn't know if they made more. I heard
No,
that
they
they
didn't
made
make more.
more, but I've
That
never
was the
really
third
looked
one,
it up.
2021.
Yeah,
It released on HBO Max and in
I'll have to
theaters. So
download it and have a look at it.
Yeah. Like I said,
now the thing about 2021, they're trying to make it more towards like a reboot on the origin of things. So that reboot was pretty accepted with mixed reviews.
so
Because one,
pushback, David. I don't think I won't say it was try to be a reboot. It was a reboot completely. For they're trying to gravitate more or different audience. And
Younger audience.
I liked it. I can't deny it. I love how they did the Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I love how they were virals in that movie.
that was the origin. That was the origin movie. That that's what I've mentioned before because I watched it in detail and I get it. The franchise reboot was made for the modern audience. It wasn't making for the diehard fan.
No, I agree.
So in some kind of way, it was more like an origin movie in a way, but more toward to the storyline of Sub-Zero and Scorpion,
Hmm.
which made it very, very unique because at least they did a better storyline on that part compared to the old movie. This is why, remember what I said this before, when you're doing any type of movie, you need to do the movie properly. There has to be a backstory for every character, right?
Hmm.
And now you see what I said because
I totally agree. But
even they did it
sometimes
for,
some movies,
even they did it for the even though they did it for the modern fan, you can't overlook the diehard fan who made it to what it is. So when you try and do, look what I'm talking. When you trying to what you watch the fan base, just so it could get more fans, the diehard loyal fan who are still existing can make or break that movie as
here's my
well.
little pushback. What you're saying here. All right. I agree and disagree at the same time. All right. I agree you should do a nice reboot for the new audience who are not hardcore. I agree with that. But at the same time, every time you change actors in some movies, like Spider-Man is a great, I mean, Batman is a great example.
Mhm.
And Spider-Man, actually, I was right about that. Is they have to show you, oh, how he becomes Spider-Man, how he got his power. Okay. How many times are you going to show me the same thing? And it's just a different version.
Now here's the thing. I'm glad you put that out there. Mortal Kombat is a martial art movie, correct?
Yeah, of course.
So when it comes to modern reboot, it won't be much of a big deal unless you have idiotic fans.
You're
Number
right
one,
back.
because first and foremost, the old Mortal Kombat, there was one particular person who was stand as radiant, and that was understandable. You cannot bring him back again, which is very, very clear. Two, if you were to get a new character, because mind you, they did a reboot on the game itself as well. Just like you did a reboot on the movie, the game itself had a
Yeah,
reboot.
Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, which means you are allowed to have new character to represent new people. No, you can have new actor to represent new character. So that is allowed. There's no if, no but whatsoever. Computer has to understand Hollywood movies, and how things goes. That's one part. The other issue is when a lot of other characters are being left out, or you don't do proper casting for certain characters. That could also be another issue. Now, the guy who did Liu Kang in the old movie, he fit perfectly well. Shang Tsung did fit perfectly well. All the other characters is a little bit questionable. See?
Well, I'm
Even
not
Eric
arguing my
knows
bait.
this
That's why
very
I'm not
well.
saying anything. The only thing I would say
So
about
this
the
is
new
why
reboot,
when it comes to these type of things that I'm more of a diehard, and I deal with a diehard group.
the only thing
I
I would
listen to
say,
the
David,
debate.
is with Mortal Kombat 2 right now, what is really killing it right now, they're focusing so much on Johnny Case, the whole movie, and that's not
This,
Mortal Kombat is more
that's a
than
story,
that. You know what I'm saying?
and I get it, but here's the problem: you have to either you like it or you don't. Let me tell you why I say that. Remember what I said when you go do a movie of this type of franchise, and the game itself have backstory for every character. My only issue is the gap in between the time of the production. The third one came in 2021. You have mixed reviews, but people believe that you can work from this, right? Instead of getting back in production in less than 2 years, you wait almost 4 years. And we all talk about aging of the actors, right?
Hmm.
You don't want to take too much time on trying to make a sequel when by you did have actors who are available to refine that role. That is the number one issue. Get to avoid that type of issue. Lord of the Rings. Um Harry Potter.
No, here parts. I'm not gonna go there.
And no, you don't have to go there, but hear what they did first. They know there'll be a bunch of sequel to that movie. They're not waiting too long of a gap to get the sequel done. They get on top of it this way. That thing actor can refine that particular role. You get what I'm coming from? I had to do it. They took the book from Twilight. Twilight did the same exact thing. They have multiple sequels, right? But they make sure the time for produce the sequel is not too far apart from each other because you need those things over actor to build upon. Harry Potter was smart to do that. They had those cast, the first cast, and they kept that cast to all the multiple sequels. And yeah, they made a whole killing. They made a boatload of money. It's not even funny. Every young actor was well off regardless if they didn't act in the movie again.
Hmm.
They put that in perspective. But the sequel made more sense in a way. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings did the same exact thing they did. They kept to their sequel and they kept with the cast, and everybody made a boatload of money on that. Mortal Kombat is very iconic for a reason. Yes, there are a lot of characters, but every movie need a backstory to a certain origin. So when they did Subdue and Scorpion, it was done properly well with a mixture of Luke Kang and Kung Lao. Now, this one probably be based on Johnny Cage. Everybody said it might be a fail, but let's see how they play out the storyline. Because Johnny Cage need a backstory, either you like it or not. This is why I say when you come to doing movies, you need to understand something. If you're gonna do these movies, make sure you have the backstory to understand these people, or don't just toss them in there because guess who did the same bullshit and now not doing too well with the money? Uh, did the movie called Superman make sense to you? Hmm. This is why I'm talking about storytelling is a factor.
I
When you
I
can't tell a
actually
proper,
like the Superman movie. To be honest with you,
yeah, I know you. I know you like. I get got a chance. I'm gonna plan to watch it this weekend. But what I did notice, there's the issue with storytelling. And that was the problem. When you're not telling a proper story, you don't bring the audience back home and watch it multiple times. There's some crazy diehard fan they'll go to the theater and watch that favorite movie more than 2 or 3 or 4 times because they like what you have done so far with it.
but David, let me ask you a question. As a martial artist, which one do you think is better with series?
With movie
No,
series,
in general? talking about gaming, anime, comic books, movies, everything.
That's very that's a very good question to ask because it's hard to say which one. If I say who had the edge precisely, it would be Street Fighter right now at the genre.
Okay.
And let me artistic about it. Both of them have gone through their storyline and the extension of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
For what kid, they didn't do what Mortal Kombat did. They didn't do a reboot to restart the timeline. I'm glad they didn't do that. But they're showing the passing of the torch to the next generation, which was very, very unique on their part. And their storyline and storytelling, it says a lot because you can see in later Street Fighter, Bison took another different journey to find himself. He's more relatable than any other character you'd have thought would be, right? Ryu, Chun Li, Ken, many of the OG character have showed a level of progression in their skills and their style to the point where you like, oh, now if they would have did an animated series on this thing, they would have to do it properly, but you might have to do a series to be honest with you. And then when we're in charge of the Street Fighter IP, you're better off don't be doing movies anymore right now because you have too much material still just going to the movie. Because to the new fan, if you want to bridge in the new fan, you might well do it a series whereby you do the storyline concerning the main characters and bring them up to speed. After maybe season one, season two, or season three, then you have these characters, you have a Street Fighter Six into play. Well, Ali, I'm not saying what a Street Fighter is better than what I'm saying based on overall franchise. You might well bring your debatable ass up here as well. Now, for Mortal Kombat is very, very unique in itself alone because the whole Mortal Kombat series, everybody who followed the gaming series, it was a big deal how they went about it. To the last game before they went to Mortal Kombat 1, a complete reboot. Because, yes, the last series before that, they were fighting for the power for the time, what do you want to call that? The time power or the time crown, whatever you want to call it. And whoever took over that power, able to redo the whole timeline. So if we want to continue that franchise, it continue based on that particular storyline, which was very, very unique in itself and good storytelling. Now, here's the thing: everybody who played Mortal Kombat knows this. Mortal Kombat got a bunch of storytelling. You cannot argue it. So that is a great part of Mortal Kombat side of things. Street Fighter in all their games, they didn't do too much storytelling, but storytelling was in the fight. When you do the animated movie whatsoever, they're trying to fill in the gap. Mortal Kombat were doing that thing already in the game already. They were filling in the gap with the story, and they would not give Mortal Kombat a extra credit on that one. Why do you think people keep coming out from Mortal Kombat? Because one, it's always a story to tell in the game itself when you play it. Two, you pick and choose who is the character you will follow behind. Now, me, my favorite character was Sub Zero, but he's ice cold and he's brutal, and Scorpion. They're like polar opposite, the yin and the yang.
On the Street Fighter format, yes, I'll agree on that. On the Mortal Kombat, yes, I agree. On Street Fighter, Raul and Ken were my two favorite ones.
Ryu Ken was iconic because they're more from the very, very beginning, for the original Street Fighter game alone, before they hit Street Fighter 2. Ryu Ken was the original 2 OG character, and they built upon that before he got Street Fighter 2. And when they did that, it fleshed out way more characters as well. But then it's more like two. It's actually three. Ryu, Ken, and Akuma. The reason why I put Akuma in the mix of that because Akuma is related to their master. So the both storytelling concerning Ken, Ryu, and Akuma more than the master himself. Every other character had their own fan base. To Street Fighter, you gotta give it props to that one. Everybody have their pick and choose who do want to stand behind. That'll make both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat very, very unique in itself. Not everybody depend on Ken or Ryu. Let's be real. I know people who love Guile, and Guile is their main man. Some, Chun Li, the Chun Li fan base. hmm That one I don't want to talk about one. That's another story in itself. but every fighting character in both games had its own unique fan base. That what made it very, very iconic. That's why I say the edge, to me, the edge will go to Street Fighter.
All right, hang on, David. Let's get Wally in here. Wally, you're up, my man.
Hey, Wally.
Literally, the shit gets old.
Nah, not really.
You don't play my theme song like I forced it out of him. Mine put to be let it be known.
You guys know I'm a professional chef. As personally, me professional chef, this is in my nature to be a royal bull breaker.
Oh, you notice right now, everybody complaining about why the man don't protect people from the bear. This bear right
You
here.
really want to know what I did to one of my staff on Friday?
Yeah.
You want to know, David?
Yeah.
Remember the little poppers that we used to throw as a kid?
Yes.
I put under the toilet seat when he went to the bathroom. It went off.
Hey,
Hey, you don't want to piss off the chef. I told him, hey, he was trying to break my balls. So I warned him, don't play with fire because I'm the gasoline. He didn't want to listen to me. So I put them around the toilet seat.
I used to throw him at my mother.
Franken, really?
All right, Wally, you're up, my man. Go ahead.
Right. So what was the earlier question on the table again?
A couple questions we ask. Overall franchise, Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Which one do you prefer?
I mean, both are both great. Doesn't really matter to me. Wait, was the question which one prefer or which one is just the better overall?
In your opinion, which one is better overall? Because I'm in the middle with this personally.
I mean, again, both of them are great. I grew up on both of them because my brother played them. So yes. Now, as far as overall, who's the better fighting game paralysis, or no, not better fighting game, but just better overall, like story, fighting game, however you want to call it. As far as I know, Mortal Kombat don't have no animated series. As far as I know, to my knowledge.
They did have one actually.
Huh?
They did have one back in the late
Well,
90s.
that goes to show you how relevant it is because Street Fighter has to stand over test of time in animation more than they have. So there you go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was bad.
To my
It was
knowledge.
horrible.
Live action, though, Mortal Kombat overall doesn't matter how much remake, how much different movies, it's just better. Because, of course, Street Fighter just can't never get it right. And they're definitely not going to get it right this time around.
Okay.
So, yeah. So then where does it all land from here?
Sorry, I didn't catch any of that. You spoke too quick. Sorry, dude.
Okay, also?
All right. So if I agree with saying, while I'm not arguing one bit.
Well, I didn't finish it, but okay, keep on.
I'm sorry?
I didn't finish, but keep on.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, because what I was saying. Yeah, Street Fighter is better as an animation. Mortal Kombat is better as live action. But at the overall, where does it all goes from here as far as story, or just anything else? It really all depends because again, you always story. It all depends on what you're looking at. I mean, you can't really bust the balls of Street Fighter as a story because most of its story is through animation, for the most part. And then Mortal Kombat, I mean, yeah, more of the story is morely in their movies, which somewhat comes a tit for tat, depending on what you're looking at. But then that's the overall thing. And then even then, if you think about the stories from even the gameplay, which, again, can be a very tit for tat type of venture, but nonetheless. But overall, for me, I just think, look, when someone asks me, like, what do I think is better in most cases, I mean, even from a sense of games, I can't put Street Fighter over Mortal Kombat just because it's just more brutal.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about more brutalized, more vicious, more combatic skill set. And that's just what it is. I mean, the only thing that's brutalized within Street Fighter is literally Akuma, to a degree. And then Bison, and then some other stuff, then some other people, depending on who you're talking about in those features. Other than that, the brutal is really just certain people. Like, okay, yeah, I forgot Saget. That's another one, right? But it's like there's only like certain brutal people. After that, everyone else is going to be extremely brutal by death, by choice, because of the simple fact of fatal brutality, animal brutality. When you put these things in a game like this, it is the most gut wrenching formality of just combat within the game or even then within movies. Period. There you go. It's so much just more centric. Now I think in a more sense as far as Street Fighter, it does show a little bit more of the fighting skill sets because of course they integrate, Muay Thai, integrate so much different fighting styles and so much different components like that. Whereas more so Mortal Kombat you sort of like it was more on some formality of elements or something like that, depending on certain things of that nature.
Okay.
But yeah. Overall for
Sorry.
me I think Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter. As far as this much. From a leadway.
Can I ask this question?
Go ahead.
What was the storyline to Street Fighter? I never could get it. I played the game on the Sega Mega Drive. Sorry, Mega Drive. But I've never got the story gist of it.
Mainly the main story is, I think the main overall story is you following Ryu, which then also follows Ken within their teachings. Then after that, eventually it just starts to pivot as the story keeps going from multiple other characters. You eventually get a storytelling from Akuma, which then ultimately gets Ryu with Ken to ultimately have a battle with Bison because he's a crime lord with his goons and everything else, which you end up finding out where the psycho power sort of comes from in a sense because there's other people that has it, or people that he just associates, which is pretty much Vega, Bulrog, and other people of that nature. And then it warps down to this overall crime scenery. Pretty much put it like this: Street Fighter's like Tekken, but just with the extra bonus of the movesets.
So one thing I will give Mortal Kombat the edge is one thing with their games. Mortal Kombat, since they came out in '92, they have not missed a release. Every few years, a new one comes out. Now with Street Fighter, it went from 87, 91, 95, 97. Then they took a break to '08. They took another break to 2016. They took another break to 23. That is, side series a little bit, like, Street Fighter and Comcon and all those other ones. But I won't count those. But a straight, more like Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat has been legit. And like I don't want to say every year almost, but every other year, it seems like from the list. Yeah, every other year pretty much.
Yeah, but the
Sure.
last two Street Fighter gave it more on the expansion, adding
That's my
on to the
point, David.
character.
They're more
So,
DLCs.
and I hate a joke about it. Even though they didn't make a sequel in a timely manner, those last two sequel brought in boatload money for Street Fighter because one, like I said, while you know the Evo, everybody know about Evo, which is a ongoing global competition where they compete the world best among the people in most regions that in North
Mhm.
America, South America, Europe, and Asia, see who the best game fighter player among them. And Evo game they use are, like I said, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and as well Tekken. Tekken also fall into the midst of things. Now people don't understand. They might put UFC pretty much too in there. I don't know. But based on how things turn out on Street Fighter, they keep bringing in more characters who people voted on. Remember, they have a website where people go and vote on the next adaptation, what character to be a part of that game. And there was a time, if people don't remember, there was a crossover between Street Fighter and Tekken. I'm glad you put this one up. There is a list of all the animated series between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat,
I
The
had the
Journey
same list
Begins.
actually.
That was 1995. That would be a prequel to the live action movie. Mortal Kombat Defender of the Realm, 1996, for the animated TV series with 13 episodes from
It's pretty
Studio
badass. Pretty
Roman
badass
and
game.
Threshold. It was alright with aired on US Network. Street Fighter have the Street Fighter 2 animated movie in 1994. Now, I want people to understand that there were two series. One called Street Fighter 2V, that's a Japanese animated TV series with 29 episodes by Group TAC. The other one was Street Fighter 1995 to 1997 that had 26 episodes with American animated TV series. It was based on Envision Entertainment and Qued Entertainment. Aired on US. If you notice, the years are very close by, but there were two different versions. The Japanese versions and there was an American version. And then there was Street Fighter Alpha, the animation, 1999. Other
That was
anime
actually a
film.
really good one.
Now for that one, the Street Fighter Alpha Generation is 2005. It was the sequel of the anime OVA. And the anime series Street Fighter Round 1 Fight 2009. That based on Studio Eagle One Media. It was an animated movie for US. So in a way, there have been I can't say tick for tack, but between Japan and the US, they did their own version based on how they see it. I had to bring that one out, and there's like a combined timeline to everything if we were to look at it from here.
All right, hang on a
Yeah,
second. Before we move on, I want to show what I have here
go
for the
ahead.
game wise.
I'll bring this one down.
That's fine. All right, for the games, like I said, the first one came out in '87. 87, yeah. And
Street Fighter, I
you can
talked
see
about
the.
that, yes.
I'm sorry.
Street Fighter, the original one, 1987, between Ken and Ryo. That was the main two characters.
Yeah, I can't. I don't remember. I was literally just born back then.
I remember
I'm
that
not,
one, I know.
I'm not ancient like you, David. But anyway,
I'm not all paying either. He's ancient. I'm just old.
anyway, 87, the 91 is. I remember the 91 one. That was the everybody maybe was on 92 because 91. I mean because that's the most popular one for Street Fighter. Then you got 95. Then it took a break to 97. Another break 08. Another break to 16 and 23. So you see under here they have the sub series they call it or spin-offs. I'm not gonna count that as the main storyline or main games. Because it's spin-offs or crossovers or whatever you want to call them. Now, let's share this tab for a second here. From when it first came out, nope, backwards. It started as Mortal Kombat Special Forces. Then in 92, 93, 95, 90, 295 actually. It was two versions of it. 96, 97, and so on and so on and so on. They have not missed a beat, those guys. Those guys, that's one that I will give them the upper hand. Anything on this before we move on to the next subject?
I'm checking that right now because I asked my assistant to break it down to me, explaining about Mortal Kombat items. You're right, it did come out. Mortal Kombat came out in 1992 on arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis. Mortal Kombat 2, everything was based on a time, like you said. They don't miss a beat. Next one was 1993, arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis. Mortal Kombat 3 was 1995 on the arcade, Super Nintendo, and Genesis. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 came out in 1995 also, with all the three systems. Then Mortal Kombat Trilogy, 1996, a year after, with PlayStation 1 and 64 and PC. Mortal Kombat 4 came out on 1997, arcade, PlayStation 1 and 64 and PC. Mortal Kombat Gold came out on 1999 on Dreamcast before PlayStation 2 beat them up. Mortal Kombat Daily Alliance came out in 2002 on PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. Mortal Kombat Deception came out in 2004 on PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. Mortal Kombat Armageddon came out in 2006 on PlayStation 2, Xbox, and the Wii came into existence. Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, let's not forget about that collaboration. Came out in 2008 on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. Mortal Kombat 2011 MK3, no, that's MK9. That's 2011 on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. Mortal Kombat 10 came out in 2015, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Mortal Kombat 11 came on 2019 on the PS4, Xbox One, Twitch, and PC. Then the Mortal Kombat reboot that we have since 2023 came back on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Twitch, and PC. And the spin-off game, they had a couple of spin-off games where they've been consistent about it. The Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monk, 2005 action series. Mortal Kombat Special Force came out in 2000. Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub Zero, which is what I'm talking about, 1997. Mortal Kombat Advance, that for the Game Boy Advance, 2001. Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, 2003, Game Boy exclusive. Mortal Kombat Unchained, 2006, with a PSP, that's a PlayStation Portable exclusive. And Mortal Kombat Unchained Collection with a complication. They
So I
had a
want to add
lot
one
of,
thing before we move on, David. So most
right.
people think Street Fighter was only for the for the Super Nintendo and Nintendo series, but because they didn't own the rights to Nintendo to them, and they were so popular. Same thing, Mortal Kombat. They did that was the first time it was cross-platform.
Hmm.
So Nintendo was originally, yes, it was released for Super Nintendo. Then later on, it was released for Sega. And same thing with Mortal Kombat. First was for Sega, then later was released for Super Nintendo. Before we move on, I want to answer one of these questions. Is from Eric: is where would you fit Marvel versus Capcom and I'm gonna butcher his name.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom. That is
Con
another big
as a
one.
fighting game go? I think both are excellent.
Yeah, that is another big deal. That's another conversation
That's a
itself.
rough one. I do think both are good games. They're in a different category, I believe. Personally, they're not in the same category like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. They're their own different type of game. Now you're taking two IPs fighting each other. Like Eric said earlier, and I'll actually agree with this. Where is it?
Hmm.
I'm trying to find the comment. Where did he put it?
Mandrell, if you're watching this show, please pop up. We need your input on
Yeah,
this.
he's not coming anytime soon. He's still in married mode. He's gonna be in that for the next 10 years. So they should, yeah, they
You didn't married person right now? How come he's out?
he's technically not. He's never out. He's still married. His
No,
wife just
no.
gives him
It is.
permission.
Craig is married, but he's not in the prison. He's allowed to come out and play.
Craig, how long have you been married, dude?
13 years, unfortunately.
That's my point.
Yeah, but he's allowed to come out and play. Mandrell's on married
Wife says
prison.
hello.
You know she hates doing that. If she
I
comes
know
at
she
you,
does. That's why I
and
do it.
you ever heard the term the Bobby cut? So I'm gonna tell you a story in a second. So before I want to answer this question, they should do a crossover made not like Marvel Kombat. I agree with that too because I think they should do a crossover Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. But the problem is the companies are never going to agree with that. So the Baba cut. Do you want to explain what the Baba cut is, David?
Explain to me. I might forget what it means.
Remember the teacher that she caught her husband cheating and she cut his winker off and threw out
Oh
the
yeah,
car?
that he became famous when he got the thing sued back, and everybody wanted to sleep with him to test if it's still working again. Yeah, I remember that part. It was on all over the.
Yeah. So
I tell
this teacher.
me about Eyewitness News. It was on CNN, with MSNBC, with NBC, with CBS.
Yeah.
Um, the other media who did extensive interview with him, they brought him on Halloween. What they call it? Intimate One, whatever they call it. They asked him how he felt, how to get the thing back, and why everybody coming at you saying email,
If you're on
letter,
about
talk
that, my
about.
wife did that years ago.
She gonna roast you one day, and we're not gonna feel sorry for you.
As
Dude,
long
she
as she
does
has it
it
on
every
camera, I'm
night.
good with
She
it.
punishes me every day.
Hey, she gonna roast you one way or the other. She will have a day, and she will be laughing. Everybody will be laughing with her, and we're like, "Damn, he got it coming." But seriously, the collaboration have always been, especially when you collaborate with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. The reason why it wasn't gonna work is director or creative right behind that. That's what the number one issue. Well, let me refer to everybody. Remember, when I say Street Fighter and Tekken did a collaboration, there were an agreement being made. There would be two different versions of that game. The first version will be the Street Fighter and Tekken on the Street Fighter crossover platform. what they successfully done. The second part, what they did not fulfill their agreement was that code will be on the Tekken platform, and they dropped the ball on
Wait a
that
minute,
part.
what is the version of the Tekken platform? Because I would believe that technically they did have a crossover, just not
That they had a
everybody.
quarter, but before they agreed to do that, they would to talk about they have both directors of both games coming to and talk about how they would do the first version based on the crossover of the Street Fighter platform. I mean, the game would be built on the Street Fighter platform engine, right? That will be the first part. The second part will have the three-dimensional character of Street Fighter showing up on the Tekken side of things. Remember,
Right.
Street Fighter
Well,
had the
that's what I'm
Street Fighter
saying.
had the no Street Fighter had their own version of that at one point. It didn't do too well as it. They had a Street
I
Fighter
believe
3D version.
Fighter's side was the more of the tag team verse, but that's what I'm saying. What is the side that was supposed to be implemented on Tekken?
Certain character from Street Fighter would show up on Tekken, but what character will be used, I don't know.
Well,
They dropped the ball on that
the
one.
way it looked like to me, they got something, so they didn't get nothing. Because Akuma was the main thing that they got, and that was the main thing that they needed, because they integrated the story of why Akuma was more important, and
Pretty
it was
much.
because of I forgot dude's mother.
Akuma came a recurring one show up on Tekken regardless. But they put to be more character to be add on, and that was the agreement.
That was the agreement, but it never really happened. Like even now, I think Mortal Kombat right now.
I think
I think Mortal Kombat right now is watered down a lot. I'll explain to you why. You have all these different characters. You got Spawn in it now. You have all these other characters that are not even a good Mortal Kombat character to play in. And I think it's very watered down from what it was back in the 90s.
Wait, were you talking about Street Fighter with Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter with Tekken? No, I'm sorry.
No, I mentioned Mortal Kombat with all the extra characters they're bringing now in.
Oh, okay. So okay, I'm just making sure. I'm about to say,
yeah. Like I said, I think it's way very very watered down now than what it was from this epic giant. What it was back in the 90s, even mid to in the 2010s. I think it was a better game back then than it is now. They have like Spawn and all these other extra characters. I'm like, yeah, it makes no sense.
That is the politics of getting characters that you own through IPs that you can just tag in because they're DLCs and they can make extra money.
Dude, I give you a great example here. I give you a great example. What do you mean by that? Technoman. I know you're not a fan of it, Wally, but that's
I never. Whoa. Again, be careful with these words. I never said I wasn't a fan of it. I do not know of the anime. Again,
okay.
My comments were only made on comments that you explained. Again,
you're not familiar with it. Is that a little better?
Sure.
All right. He's in Mortal Kombat. I'm like, what the hell Technoman doing? Technically, Technoman can kick all the Mortal Kombat fans characters out ass. But go ahead, David.
Let's be real. You can't get mad with Mortal Kombat creating a lot of character because
I can.
No, let me explain why. If you wouldn't pay attention to Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3, the original creation on that one, they were spawning way more characters than usual, but they wasn't playable to begin with. Perfect example. All the Ninja Clan. Remember, we thought it was Sub-Zero and Scorpion, right? And there was Reptile. And there was other Ninja Clan based on different coloring. That's what they idea because they knew they can't stay with a limited amount of characters that was them. They wanted to expand the franchise to make it more relatable. Mortal Kombat 3 did just that as well. So you can't say it was watered down because here's the thing: when it comes to fighting game, it never go boiled down with a small group of fighting games. You understand, like movies or genre that had a huge franchise, there'll be other characters going to spawn up, either like it or not. Who this character that they put to be a icon or a parody to Bruce Lee, Fei Long? Yeah, you got a character called Fei Long on Street Fighter, right? That put to be a relatable character, but at the same time, they had another character on Tekken that put to be a parable to Bruce Lee, and that character was Law.
You really stuck on Tekken, and we're not even talking about Tekken. I'm not going back to that.
I'm talking about parody. Street Fighter was bringing characters on parody level. Street Fighter and Tekken did the same thing to honor a particular icon, Bruce Lee. On Street Fighter, it was Fei Long I said on Tekken was Law.
It was Fei
Uh,
Long. Wait,
No, you remember that animated movie? There's one guy who almost mimicked Bruce Lee movement, and Rio fought the guy, and Rio beat him. They add that
No.
character to the game.
you talking about from the
Remember
Tekken side?
I'm talking about the Street Fighter side first. There was
Oh,
a cat.
yeah, I know about that part. I know about that, but I didn't think that was but that was a filler. But at least they gave him somewhat of a story when they put him in. So they
Yeah, they gave
integrated.
him a story. This one in Tekken, the guy named Law. Even the producer knew what he was doing. He made that character be more like a Bruce Lee parody, and he had him collaborate with the other fighting character called named Paul. Like I said, I'm heavy on the games, and they kept the character there longer than they did on Street Fighter side. Some games do parody. In Mortal Kombat, I know you want to get mad about it. They brought RoboCop into the thing. What does RoboCop to do with Mortal Kombat?
Let's get one
I
thing.
get it. I
Hold on,
get that part.
David.
They brought Spawn into the mix. I get that. It kind of like, what's Spawn doing there? They brought Freddy Krueger.
My point exactly.
Okay, yeah, but okay, hold on, David. I get what you're angling on it, but at the same time, though, those don't compare in comparison. How you saying that? Because at least with Law and Fei Long, at least that's a character that you can integrate and put a story with, which they did.
I tell you that.
But hold on. I let you talk. But the thing is, the difference with RoboCop and all those others, those are just IPs that you're just putting in with the DLC. They're not even integrated in the storyline any which way. They're just figures that you're just putting in for lovable combat. Congratulations. Who cares?
But Peter don't like it.
I mean, again, that's just a scheme for money.
That's my personal opinion.
Ties to the story, though. I'm sorry, but I have to agree with him because, like, I don't give for crap for that either. You're not knowing for the storyline.
Wait, we're agreeing for once?
No, trust me, we agree like what a few times over.
I think it's like the fifth time in 1 year, so I'll take a W when I can. But no, I agree with Wally. What the fuck is RoboCop? No, hang on. I'll use my sound effect.
So what happened? RoboCop heard he would have shoot him, but he jammed the gun first.
But you see, even Spawn is technically unable to kill a character. Bruce Lee was in it. Like, I don't see that. Okay, maybe they didn't
they brought Rambo into the mix too. Rambo's in it too.
I wasn't sure. That's why I didn't want to say that. I thought it was.
They put Rambo in there. They put Rambo. They put the guy from that Superman-like character from the other comic book series.
Oh, the Homelander.
Yeah, is it Homelander? I'm talking about the other one, the other alien slash.
From the Invincible. Oh
yeah.
Oh, from the boys.
Yeah. That's
So I have the list right here. It's ridiculous. The list. I'm gonna share my screen right now. It's beyond ridiculous. All right. So some of them we know. Sub-Zero. Okay, cool. Johnny Cage, whatever. You know, you like him, I hate him. Well, that's all them. Sorry. But if you scroll down, you got Ghostface from Scream. Why the fuck is he in his damn thing?
I don't know.
Money.
That's questionable.
That's just simple
It's
money.
They got Homelander.
Oh, we got Terminator in this
there.
too. The T-1000.
They got Omni-Man in there.
Conan.
The Barbarian. Money.
They got Omni-Man from the Invincible. That's another questionable.
Yeah, Omni-Man, Homelander. Again, all because of money. I mean, there's a reason why they're DLCs. Look, if you told me today, right, I could understand RoboCop for only one reason only. If I'm not mistaken, one of the Mortal Kombats did some form of time traveling or something with the times in the storyline, correct? Yes or no?
They got the guy from the Walking Dead in the game also.
All right, so when they did the whole time travel thing, I could understand if RoboCop was like, all right, you fucking up the time, I'm coming here to correct this shit, and did some dumb shit. If they put that as a story, but it's not. And that's my whole point. It's like all these guys coming in, they're just fun catalysts of just adventurous storytelling. Even when they did like Mortal Kombat versus DC, that ain't shit. Well, just because you had the both of the IPs under the same roof, and you're like, "Hey, let's put the IPs together, let's rock it out." I'm pretty sure Scooby Doo and Shaggy's on that bitch somewhere. Because I remember seeing them trolls. Well, okay, Shaggy, but
Go
still.
down.
So I want to share this other one really fast. Oh, hit the wrong button. Of course I did.
You did that. I had nothing to do with it. I'm not heading down on the control.
No, that was me.
Once they scroll down, they
Street
have
Fighter.
no. They have Roberto. Oh, you missed it.
What?
Oh, that. Oh, you did. That's the list for Street Fighter. Sorry, I was looking for the
It's
complete
literally
list.
all these characters are straight. They're getting over popular too, but none of these are from other IPs. You see my point?
And I get that. But here's the thing with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was overreaching. Remember, they did it. They started this mess back in Mortal Kombat 2. That was a known habit, and they went on it further on Mortal Kombat 3. So they have been teasing bringing extra characters that may not fit the storyline or may fit the story, depending on how they look at it. Like anybody in the arcade, you had to do certain things to force the extra characters in the game to pop up or show their appearance. That was a cheat. Mortal Kombat 3 was no different. So I'm talking about people who will go online or go to the game store, get the magazine that will publish, and they say if you get X amount of win or you do this, then you might get the extra character. If you fight or you win your fight at a unique level, let's say you got double perfect, you'll go down the stage and fight in the pit of there with more reptile or the other stuff. Those kind of thing was done on purpose by the Mortal Kombat franchise.
Of course, it's called money. 100% right.
Well, let's put it like this. There was a brainchild that spawned all type of possibilities going to fight again. And remember what I said, they're going there caught the senators who want to ban the game. At the same time, they want to ban Grand Theft Auto, they want to ban Mortal Kombat. It's too bloody, it's not meant for kids, but you have most of you parents bought the game for your kids to begin with. Why are you complaining? Why is it's not for kids, but you go behind closed door and buy it for your kids? Make it make
My
sense.
mum never said that. My mum used to flame that me and my younger brother watch Mortal Kombat all the time when we were kids.
Yeah, that you can. US was contradicting themselves.
Yeah, you over in Europe, dude, is a completely different world. When you come here, everything that we think is normal, like me and you who grew up in Europe, it's not okay here.
Okay.
For example, comic books are very popular all over the world. They tried ban them here at one point. Gaming was trying to get banned in general. And Riot Brands said. Then they tried ban gaming, music. They try to ban anything that kids like.
Let's put it like this. America is a walking contradiction. They're worse than Starbucks.
I don't even want to talk about that. Hang on a second. I'll ask you guys a question. What is one iconic move from both franchises you say it beats all the moves from both series? That would say that is the move for me.
I don't think you'll find that in Street Fighter that easy. For Mortal Kombat,
What
So
you
can
said
you
a move that is so unique that is literally undefeatable on both ends.
No, not defeatable. Unrecognizable. I said.
Unrecognizable meaning.
Yeah, that is your favorite move. Like for me personally, Ken's or Yukin is to me ice and a cake. Personally, that's my Mount Olympus.
Scorpion.
Oh, because he has more. Because his is fire, which is why I usually use him. Let's see. Interesting.
Mine was Scorpion.
I'm sorry.
I mean, if I'm looking at Mortal Kombat, for me, it's like, it's sort of like a three-way tie because of just looking at how usable it is in the game. Because it's like for me, it's like I forgot the dude. Who's the main dude character that lost his brother because of fucking Shang-Chi?
Liu Kang.
Liu Kang. His bicycle kick was literally the most unique move ever. Like that is just hilarious. I love when he performs it because that is just lovely.
That move was abused.
Huh? Well, of course.
They abused that move too much.
And then just imagine if you put that in like Street Fighter component. Street Fighter components. Most people will be dizzy just getting kicked off of that, literally.
Are
Then,
you on
of
about
course,
the
Scorpion-
flying kick move?
pretty much. And Scorpions, get over here. That is iconic.
That's my second
You
play.
can never take that away. That is iconic as hell.
That's why I like it.
And then, of course, Sub-Zero freezing you to only delay combat.
I would expect you to say
freezing
all
with the
three.
shield to delay damage. Perfect combatic skills.
I will agree
across
with
the
Wally
board.
on that one. When
Perfect
Wally mentioned those
match.
three, everybody said about the same thing about those three. Those three characters have unrecognizable, unbeatable move that is so annoying. It will literally piss. I've seen people lose their mind. I don't want to say the S word, but they lose their mind when people do those moves and they abuse it. And Wally know what I'm talking about. In the arcade, this thing, everybody who grew up in the arcade era, when you put your quarter down, you say, I got next. There are people who ego was destroyed because of those type of moves. They don't want to let go of the controller. No, I need to get my revenge.
Oh, I could even go with the fourth character, to be honest.
Oh,
It's the
who
fourth character.
who joined the list?
If you're talking about old school Mortal Kombat, the Black Ninja Smoke. If you use him, game over.
Okay, yes.
For most characters, game over. You had to use literally the
yes,
gods or the
yes.
freaking higher end demons
He correct.
to break what Smoke would do. Because Smoke would literally frick you over. The
And
moment
I'm
he
saying
put that
this,
smoke on you, game over.
in the arcade, no one want to leave the control. They want to do the revenge. If you have the game console, you join the AJ Style Club. Meaning when somebody do you dirty, you break your controller.
Here's a
Only in
question.
Mortal Kombat that happened. But on Street Fighter, it's hard to say because he mentioned Ken with the flaming up Shuriken, right?
I mean, I can go multiple ways with that too.
Here's the problem. Ryu had an ability that was recognized during one of the fighting game tournament that somebody used Ryu to block Chun-Li and let kick assault, whereby it's iconic all over the web. I hate to say this. Ryu had like 2 or 3 moves that if timed perfectly, you cannot do nothing about it. His blocking, I don't know what it did about his blocking. That someone figured out how to do that. Because they did it with Ken, but did it with Ryu. That's one. His ultimate fireball is almost unblockable.
You can say
I
the same
hate to
about
say this.
Akuma.
I've got a question.
Akuma is the worst one. Akuma is the worst of any Street Fighter character. And you know what I'm saying that? The Raging Demon. When he do the Raging Demon, it's like he's fading through your attack move and he's saying,
Yes.
I'm gonna make you mine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Akuma, without even naming that move exactly, just the Raging Slide. The Raging Slide alone, that move is a pain because it negates any attack.
No, you call it Raging Slide. They call it Raging Demon. The latest Street Fighter game did an expansion on how that move looked like in the shadow. They show you what will happen to you when the all blacker happened. It's like he expanded in multiple characters and all coming in whooping your ass like.
Well, yeah, well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about just its slide because that's annoying to compete with because it negates any attack. It literally negates any attack.
See, personally, the 2 characters I hate fighting in Mortal Kombat, hate fighting with passion, was the indie guy Tasahakis. I can't pronounce his name.
Wait, who?
The Indian guy. Who's
you talking about with the stretches?
Yes.
Yeah, Dawson. Okay.
He was a pain in the ass to fight.
Yeah, Dawson could be a pain sometimes if you know what you're doing.
He wasn't in the movies, was he?
No, he was not in any movies.
Street Fighter, he did the long hand. All you gotta do is wait for him to stretch that long hand, just grab him, and just do him dirty. That's all.
Yeah, not if you're not that quick in knowing when he's gonna do
I've
it.
got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many of the games carried their moves and their abilities over to the actual movies?
Almost all.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Did they?
The only move technically when they I said like old school Street Fighter when they used to did like more of the super fireballs, they changed those. They changed those from earlier back in the days because earlier back in the day those were more flashy and quicker with power and back behind it. But now it's like they sort of changed that from what it is now because they made it more cleaner to what it was in the games. I mean, what it was in the anime series.
I only remember the old school games that you got on the PlayStation 1, not the new ones. I've not seen any.
Well, yeah. So that's why I'm letting you know. Like, okay, yeah. So for ones that you know of, like I'm saying, like if you know the throwback move when they do the blast, mostly Ken and Ryu, those they change those.
All right.
So this is an idea that came in my head just now. If it was a way to do like a world tournament, Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter, have like the best 10 players in the world versus 10 players of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Think about how that would play out. You don't think it's going to work, David? I think it'd be a fucking breakout.
If you're talking about a tournament of
It'd be a
Mortal Kombat,
bloodbath.
well, here's the thing though. You're saying take the 10 best from Mortal Kombat. Well, because you got to literally take the actual best that actually can do Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I mean the test gamers, the best gamer for Mortal Kombat, and test best gamers for.
Oh, you're talking about the actual gamers? Oh, I don't even remember the mofos.
Here's the problem.
No, I know you won't, but I'm saying if you're doing a tournament, a video game tournament with those two series, you're gonna have to bring the test game players, of course, right?
That's called evil.
I mean, you're gonna have to bring the test game players, but I'm thinking more so of the actual characters you're talking about. Like, okay, these 10 characters, you bring these 10 characters, and then put them in a tournament. It's like, okay, you're gonna use these 10 characters from each side. How do you think that'll pair? And I'm like, okay,
that's a cool idea. I think they should make a game, but Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter.
It wasn't going to happen because they created issue behind that because both director of those IP, they're not going to bend over for the other guy.
You can't really say that, David. I'll tell you why. For years and years and years, they said, "Oh, Call of Duty is never going to be cross-platform. It makes way too much money." And guess what? It's cross-platform now.
I know, but here's the problem. How long had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter have been existed?
Since the time started.
And how many other games they cross over with them besides them do cross with each other? A lot.
Tech. What? Street Fighter only did Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Mortal Kombat did.
DC.
Who Mortal Kombat did? Oh, they did DC. That's it.
Look what I'm trying to point out. This is why I remember a few other times they had the discussion on Comic-Con. What the discussion ended up at. And they was asking that question for many, many years. Why there's never been a crossover for Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat? And
well, here's a better question. Which one do you think is more impact in pop culture? I want to say warrior. Pop culture over the years.
Both. It's like a tribe.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat may have an edge to that, but it's like a tribe. Street Fighter tribe is as big as the Mortal Kombat tribe. Either you like it or you don't. When I mention Evo, look up the definition of Evo in the tournament organization they have. It's a very big global deal. And I hate to say that money has always have been involved. When I'm talking about money, I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars have been invested in those tournaments, and they have it every year around the world, depending on certain locations. A few times they had it in the U.S., a few times they had it in Japan, they had it in the other regions of the world. It's a very, very, very big deal. And I mentioned all the fighting games that's in the tournament, which is Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. There's rumor conversation they want to bring UFC fighting game into the competition list. It was not sure.
Be surprised.
I'm glad you said that. Big surprise. But my question is, yes, they have a fan base on the UFC fighting game, but if it's that big as those top three, I'm not sure.
No, because the thing is with UFC, the things we use, that's like more of a calculated fighting game. With Mortal, I mean, Grant, don't get me wrong, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all those are all calculated. But the thing is, because with Street Fighters, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat, those goes into difference because you can play arcade style of the controllers. Whereas UFC, you're not playing arcade style, you're playing with the actual controller. So there's a different atmosphere within how you play.
Get my point. That's a discussion behind that. And now everybody in every tournament who's been there always said it. There may never be a crossover for Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter game ever be built because they knew the director of both franchise had an issue how that game would be produced.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And here's my next question. Goes right into that. Which one you think evolved better over the years?
Evolve.
And I say my
My
edge goes
gut
to
is
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter.
It evolved better than Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat went to that particular storyline when they had a reboot.
Yeah, didn't water it down as much.
But I say Street had an edge on that because this latest game is like passing on the torch. But at the same time, they open a new variable whereby a lot of people trying to explore now.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so we're talking about from a gaming perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Yeah.
saying, well, okay, so but from a gaming perspective, which one has evolved more?
Yeah, better.
Correct.
Okay. Well, see, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna have to. Again, this is gonna be another L for Street Fighter slightly because honestly, Mortal Kombat actually aged more better. If you think about this, and let me tell you why I say this is because, well, just think about this from a standpoint of where it was before to where it is now. But think about it. Street Fighter, on the other hand, it sort of stayed this. It sort of stayed stagnant. It just got better graphics over time. You could think about that clearly. Yeah, think about it very clearly. Think about what it was in. Think about it in PlayStation. Then think about it now, where it is now within the older format of PlayStations, and then even in Xbox. So, because when you look at it,
He has a
the
good point.
same storyline of who's the main, like who's usually the main villain. I mean, like early PlayStation ones, the main villain, in more cases than not, was like what, at least Bison at the time. From that part,
Bison, Bywog, Vega, and
no, I'm
Saya.
saying the main boss villain, in most cases, it would be Bison most times.
If we bite him more time unless you reach a particular level, then Bison get his butt kicked by Akuma. Akuma will come in and
Exactly.
do
Yeah,
nothing.
if you're actually hitting perfect, then of course Akuma you face. But that's my whole point.
You
So
you call, you call it Akuma to come and kick your butt. We think you're that damn good.
right. So okay.
Bro, you can use Honda just sit on your
No,
fat
but
ass.
that was the game code in the arcade part. If you can get him perfect too many times, by the time you get to Bison, before you can get to Bison,
Akuma will literally
Akuma will come
slump
out
his
of
ass.
nowhere and snuff him and say, "You're not on that level. Let me test him." And they put it on all the later editions. It was like it was made that way.
You know what's funny, bro? It doesn't matter if you play Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Everybody picked the same character to play with.
Some people are used to the same characters as the next person.
Think about it.
Some
sorry?
people are just used to the same character as the next person, or neither. It's because other characters are very much difficult to use. For instance, Mr. freaking German wrestler himself, that mofo to this day is forever the most hardest wrestler freaking used in the game. I used the Mexican wrestler before him.
Zangief?
Yes, the
He's
mofo.
Russian.
Didn't I say he's German? Okay, well,
You say German.
yeah. Well, okay,
He's-
sorry.
Whatever.
No, I'm not gonna say whatever. When I say German
uh,
initially, I
you're
was
not
thinking
gonna-
like the region. That's why I said
You're
German.
not going to disrespect Street Fighter like that.
That's why I
It's not
said
whatever
that.
he is. He's Russian. He's a
But yeah,
Russia.
no, he is Russian. He is Russian. Mother Russian. Yeah, he is Russian. Sorry
Come
about
on.
that. But
All right, he was a pain in the ass to beat. Even the guy with that guy with 4 arms. He was a bitch and a
Goro?
half to beat.
Octopus.
Yeah.
Doctor.
yeah, Goro. But see, Goro was on with a different thing though. Goro
Oh.
was like built to be more tankier. That's why.
Sorry.
So he took less damage.
And there was different type of version of gold that applied. When gold got taken out, he had one of his clanmen come to replace him. They did that like 2 more times. There are 3 different characters from the same clan of where Goa came from. To be some kind of sub boss, so to speak. The last one was a female version. The first 2 was male. Since 2 men couldn't get their job done, they had to get a girl to do the man's job. Really?
Well, yeah, but no, but like I was saying though, it just seems like to me, for me, right, just looking at it from where they were beforehand at PlayStation 1 up until now, it sort of seemed more so to me that Mortal Kombat has really taken more of a lead within a story more than Street Fighter. I mean, yes, Street Fighter will give you a starter with a story, but notice one thing: they actually implemented those stories for those characters right when PlayStation 3 for both Street Fighter 3 on both ends of the stick. So that took until then to actually start that. Mortal Kombat sort of had that.
But which one do you think had a more balanced engine?
Or Bowser Engine as far as creating the moves and everything else, and then setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still say Mortal Kombat because it's like, again, right, building process, right. I mean, I think they both sort of have the same thing, right? They all have to build up to their engine, right, and then you got to wrap up, right. I think the only small thing is the only backlash to Street Fighter would be because you had to take damage to gain your quote unquote ultra super, your ultra move.
And I think
Mhm.
I may agree with you. At the same time, I may not disagree with you because on the Street Fighter engine, it was made available on the world that people can build their own character, and these developers were slick about it because they know
Yeah, but that
people
yeah,
out there.
they can make
Well,
their own character. That was on the newest one.
they explore the what do you call it, the unknown to how far the people will take and what kind of character to add it, and they use that as a way of looking at what kind of character can we add to our franchise among these one kind of people have been created.
I mean, yeah,
Because
they did that because you got to think about it again. Go back to the old school versions of Street Fighter. If you remember the Aurora type character, the skeleton type character, those guys were pretty much characters with moves of other people.
that is true.
So yeah, it was just bringing that funnelized back, but now it's just more creative because now people can make their own character with any move sets and see
And that
how
what
they
they add,
compete.
and that what they added
So
on
it makes it more
Street Fighter
competitive.
Six. They brought that part to Street Fighter Six late after the game because everybody was doing that on their side independently. So they bring that idea. You can create your own character on Street Fighter Six and allow that see how that foster into the next level because that Street Fighter Six will be there for the next maybe 3 or 4 years, depending on how things play out. 'Cause like Wally say, DLC downloadable characters or content, when you want to call it, it will become a thing. Tekken was doing the same exact thing at one point. Mortal Kombat did that for a particular week because they realized there was money in it. They got rid of money sale behind that. Because if you have a PlayStation like I have, there's a list of character energy fighting game, either be Mortal Kombat, either be Street Fighter or Tekken, that you always need to add in because their skill set is very, very unique in itself. And it's a money grab. All
But you know what? The other thing also we have to consider, not only the engine, the characters. This one, I think Mortal Kombat has the edge, the better soundtrack. I think Mortal Kombat is going to have the edge on that one
better soundtrack.
because when you hear the Mortal Kombat song, do 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 do, I'm not doing that well, but you get my point. You know right away. Boom! That's Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter have a very recognizable soundtrack, and most of that soundtrack is Japanese based. I mean, I can't recall.
Yeah, the soundtracks I'm not really gonna really fight on because I mean that's either or. I mean I really don't. I never have been ever disappointed by the soundtrack for me. So, but I mean,
Hmm.
but yeah, but going back to like sort of like the system. So yeah, like I was saying, like as long as I've known Mortal Kombat, as far as I remember it, right? Because I think you have to just simply build up to your ace move for you to even use it. Whereas, in a sense, Street Fighter does too. But like I said, for the Ultra, when they have it on the wheel, the Ultra you had to build up, but that was impartial of you taking damage. So when you think about that system, you probably won't even be able to do your Ultra if you haven't even took damage. Ergo, you just be doing perfect just because of just being able to just be able to fly in Mortal Kombat skills
Craig,
or
you
martial
need,
arts. I should
you need
say.
that full screen across the screen to finish them.
Well, yeah, and then that's another thing. And then yeah, Mortal Kombat gives you that extra amp to just finish it, either through animal brutality or just straight up brutality, which is just an extra cherry on the top of the cake. So, yeah, I think fighting structure wise, mechanics is just way more better on the
And the
Mortal
thing
Kombat.
about Mortal Kombat, they explored it to a unique way. Yeah, fatality, beatality, friendship mode. I was like, oh, hold on, friendship. I ain't trying to be your friend. I'm trying to do you dirty. Why don't they do friendship for?
Friends do fight.
But it made it fun. Let's be honest though. A lot of people were trying to get all the other type of mood and get out to the cherry on the top. But I think the issue is they had idea they could have explored much deeper. They were dropping toward to the end because the idea of bestiality kind of thing they were doing that for every character. They didn't go further with it to the latest one, whereby They actually chain to the animal spirit to finish somebody. In the latest game, they don't do that no more. That would be a cool idea back then, but they dropped the ball on that. And while Craig is fixing his laptop, I'm gonna have to reach out to him. Yeah, because I got a laptop I need to work on. I need to get a motherboard for the 8P model. But I'll let you know if I can get hold of you.
What? I'm just putting it back on my other half laptop.
Hey, Don GQ. But that's the thing about it. 'Cause when we look at these two games, there's so much you can pick on each other because they have their flaw, they have their weakness, they have their strong point as well. That's what made it so iconic for the reader. It's not gonna go nowhere no time soon. Yeah, they're the top two, but they both have a competition called Tekken, and Tekken have been come right behind them for the longest. Ever since, even though they didn't start at the same time they started, but it brought out the argument about fighting game on another level, 3 dimensional. And Virtual Fighter didn't do better well. The game called Virtual Fighter, everybody who know about the gaming industry, Virtual Fighter put a bit of rival to Tekken, but it didn't do too well, so it fell off. Tekken became a real big mainstay, either we like it or not.
It
But
fell
the
off
thing is,
because it's just not that interesting. Like, I mean, not as a game, but like it's just not that interesting as far as like history. Okay, so like I'm gonna ask this even to make sure that you even know. Did Virtual Fighter even have a story as far as animation series or anything like that? My point exactly. Thank you very much. Okay, so you just started from a game and then you think it was going to get popular just because. All right.
they tried that because they thought Tekken was getting groundwork and was getting popular and popular and popular, but people were
Yeah,
talking
but see,
about
that's the thing though. Tekken has already got the groundwork. It got it from the games. It got it from the TV series. If it had a TV series, and then of course the live action is already done. I think, to be honest, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, I think see Tekken's that sweet spot game to movies that actually did pretty well.
it did pretty well. The only issue is it comes to storytelling. I think Mortal Kombat is competing with Tekken on the storytelling wise because they have a unique way of telling a unique story for each character. Tekken does that exactly just that. Now we come to fighting sequel and the evolution of their fighting styles. Street Fighter still had a slight edge over it, but they're showing new moves that built the original move they had, and they kind of like an advanced level. Mortal Kombat only selected characters show an evolution of their fighting skills and their fighters on their select few, and the group makes sense. Every other character is more like, okay, you're trying to find something to add on
Well,
to it.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't really expecting Mortal Kombat to really have a growth in their fighting moves because, again, the thing is with Mortal Kombat is, and this is like the only small thing about it, as far as we're talking about just straight up martial arts. Mortal Kombat was more so on the weaponry more than anything else. They were more on the weaponry combat skills, not more of the martial arts combat skills.
That is fact.
But which one do you think is more toxic community versus Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Toxic community.
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
Ooh.
Who has more of a toxic community? I ain't gonna lie. The only way, because the only way for the community in Street Fighter to be that toxic, depending on what we're aiming at for toxicity, is literally Zangief, literally Dawson. If you know what you're doing, Akuma is just rage bait. Let's see who else. The dude that had the eye in his stomach. They're just too much factors. It all depends on who you're really asking. It really depends.
And let's not forget, there was acting people to bring the feature from Virtual Fighter onto Street Fighter. As in, you know who I'm referring to, Chun Li, because since she's always heavily blasted, they want that same feature from that game to be applied to Street Fighter.
Hmm.
That is toxic.
Let me ask you guys another question. Two questions. In 50 years from now, which series do you see surviving?
But they're both going to survive. They're not going nowhere.
Yeah, they're too much of a strong call classic. My
It's
only
not.
thing is here's my only thing to this the story bit. If we're talking about surviving as far as when it comes to the visual of it, I mean, as far as games, I think they're both going to survive. It don't really matter one way or another. I think the only problem is with Street Fighter and both Mortal Kombat, but even more so with Street Fighter is the passing of the torch. I think with Mortal Kombat you can keep passing the torch because it's already been passed around a couple times. AKA Sub-Zero, that name has been passed around at least twice, from the original to the brother. So it's been passed. So Scorpion, that the whole story that can pretty much be passed. It's the same way. The idea of who is the guardian over the realms. I mean, they already showed that in the games that can be passed over, which then leads on to new characters. So knowing that in its history, that will always have a time grade of overall, right? Whereas Street Fighter, it doesn't seem that it's going that path because like it's showing you depth as far as story, right? You know, Ken losing his son, him getting darker in a sense of trauma and whatnot. So it's like, But then Ryu getting strong, like getting older and a beard, and Morley coming as master. Like, do you end up training someone brand new? Where does Ken goes from here? How does the female that they train? How does she grows up in this format? You know, how does Guile reach up? Does he train the next army man to fight evil? Who is the next new head of the Bison's organization that takes over and has the psycho boost powers and everything else? It's those things are the questionnaire factors. So looking at that and noticing those key factor points, Mortal Kombat, if you're talking about from that standpoint, it's going to age well. Street Fighter is a questionnaire state, but where it's at right now, it's a state that's going to just drown out.
Well said. Well said. It's right on the money because that is what within the deep community about talk about storytelling, the storyline, how far you go with it.
Because even with Akuma, like
here it is. Scorpion is the man who would be dead, but he got brought back alive again. So they cut the part of him being immortal and made him alive, so he can pass the torch. Let's not forget that. If he was immortal, he would have been made the same way. But since based on the storyline, he got brought back alive to give him a second chance to rebuild his clan. Now he can pass the torch to the next generation. So Scorpion, the name Scorpion can be lived on to the next generation. Same thing with Sub-Zero. Now for all the other characters, it's very, very unique.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, your wife is gonna cut your dick off when you're sleeping.
Mrs. Lucas, you're allowed to come on the channel and roast them anytime and any day, and we allow that.
They're saying that you're allowed to come on any time and to roast me.
I'll help her.
I think physicality is their ideal move in this case.
And we'll chill on like Mortal Kombat. Woo-hoo. And that's the funny thing about Mortal Kombat. When you did talking about a dirty combo, you see that face when a developer come like whoopee, will come into the screen. That should be really annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I hated
that.
Which is why going back to the idea of who has the more toxic community, Mortal Kombat does.
Thank you.
I agree with that too.
That was toxic because you in the arcade, you beat it but so bad, and the developer say come whoopee, like you know, like you get your ass whooped. That's like it get under your skin. To force that several times, you know, you struck a chord with somebody right now. They're looking at you like, really, you would have to embarrass me that way. You have to force that to come out a couple of times. And it became annoying to all the other genre because after Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3 got a little bit more annoying. They did all kind of things to let you know when you getting your ass beat, you have somebody giving a look like, oh, shoot, who getting that ass whooped? Like, that is toxic. I'm not going to lie. Street Fighter don't even do that. If you get it, know what? Yeah, they do. Street Fighter does that. If you're not paying attention, the character in the back, when you get the ass whoop, they pull them like, okay, like, but not as subtle as Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is toxic.
Right now, the only toxic thing in Street Fighter now more than ever is the simple fact that the nice counter block or the block counter. Like that is the most that's starting to be the most annoying thing in the whole thing because it's like I should have been able to get that and next thing knows like nope, we ain't going that far.
And they did that on the Street Fighter versus Chun-Li. One guy did it and he blocked every ultra kick that she did and he timed it. And that if you go on YouTube and look for that video it should be in a billion views by now because everybody thought that's impossible to do. That's to tell you people train heavy on Street Fighter to counter every super move, and the developer knew that was going to happen one day or the other. When it happened and was recorded live, that blew up the market for Street Fighter in itself, and
You
this
know
is
what
why
I'm
people have
curious
tournaments.
about, dude? So we know Mortal Kombat's coming out. All right, too.
Hmm.
Street Fighter's coming out pretty soon too. A movie. All right.
Hmm.
Who's gonna do better?
I would say let them come out because before we criticize them, let them come out first
You can't
and let
criticize them
the
because they're not
people.
out yet.
Wait,
This
we
was
talking about as far as movies, or are we talking
Yeah,
about something
yeah,
else?
the
Oh,
new movies.
because remember Street Fighter didn't do too well on the movie side of things.
and it still ain't gonna do too much. I'm sorry. I've seen those visual cameos. Oh hell no, just hell no. I swear to gosh,
Craig,
like they
Craig, you
should
on
have just
your
left
own.
Akuma out of this. Because no, I'm sorry, no,
You're on your own,
no,
Craig.
hell no. And most of these are WWE people. Like, oh my god, I think the only impressive cameo is gonna be like Borog with 50 Cent. Like that's probably the only one I said that's gonna be pretty solid.
The only one that I know right now from looking at the cast is going to be from WWE's Roman Reigns. That's the only one from Street Fighter.
Cody Rhodes is gonna be Guile,
Easy. All right, you see that part.
Yeah, but
which again,
Roman Reigns being Akuma, I don't know.
I mean,
Here's the, here's the problem. As a martial artist, as a fan of the Street Fighter franchise from the very beginning, certain characters had to fit certain fighters. Roman Reigns being Akuma doesn't make no logical sense. Kuro being God, maybe in a degree because God wasn't at. This is why when you want to take Street Fighter character and make it live action, there's an issue to how you go about it. It is an issue.
of
Remember,
course, you
they did
say
a live action series of Street Fighter, the origin storyline, and that looked even better than the movie they did.
I'm looking at the cast right now. So I only catch two from WWE and one wrestler. And I think he's from Japan. Yeah, he's from Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan.
Like I
So,
said, it's hard to say because Street Fighter is a fighting game where there are a few martial artists, there are a few wrestlers, and a
dude,
few
guess who's
on.
playing Blanca in the new one?
I forgot who's playing Blanca.
Jason
Well,
Marone.
well, let's see how that works out.
Interesting.
Like I said, let's see how that works out
I
because,
don't think
like
that's
I
gonna be a good role for him.
here's the problem: a lot of these Street Fighter characters, it's hard to put it on live screen.
Of course it is. That's why it's supposed to stay animation.
E Honda, that's a big deal.
See,
Blanca,
E Honda. Now, see, E
That
Honda. That's a different story. E Honda, I believe, is easy to make. The problem is because E Honda is just regular. He's a regular guy. He's just some
no,
like he's Samoan. He's pretty like okay. So he's pretty much sumo wrestling. He's got that visual sense. It's more easy to make E Honda more than any other character.
Boba Blanca, and Danga, that's even harder.
But that's what I'm saying. Those are the outliers. Those are harder to make. Ken
See,
Ryu,
here's my
some of
only
those
issue.
simple people are easy.
My
Others
only
not.
issue with the guy they picked to for E Honda, they're using this scrawny wrestler guy. Honda was like Davis physique.
And
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
that's
Partially,
why I say certain movies of certain game franchise are never going to do well on live action if you can't properly cast them and find the people that can fit the character, unless you go to CGI.
aka
Because
stay to animation.
and there you go, CGI anime. Because this is why you don't want to repeat the same mistake Street Fighter did, what they did with what is his name, the guy from Kickboxing the movie, John Con Van Damme. He did Guile. They got somebody who looked like he was about to going to act like they did Bike. The Bike was not that skinny ass dude. They did him dirty. They got E Honda. They got Blanca
Now,
to a
see,
certain
E Honda on that Street Fighter was actually a little bit more close to the visuals.
very, very
I agree on
close.
that. I
He
Yeah,
do
it was
was.
agree.
very close to the visuals. So that what I'm saying, like he's more easier to define, but other characters not so much.
And that's why I'm saying doing a live action version of a popular game franchise is never highly recommended. Never.
Well,
Look
I
what
mean,
happened.
I say
Look
like
what
this.
happened.
The physique,
Remember what I said they did for when you had a comment about Final Fantasy, and they did the American version and did it dirty and they didn't do too well. The producer of the game had to do another CGI movie and showing how it's supposed to be done, and people were losing their shit because the camera angle, the fight sequence was unbelievable. They were trying to point out certain games to transition to movie can only be done if you stay within the same platform. Either you make it animated or make it CGI. When you make it
well, here's
live
my thing though.
action, there's a lot of technology you have to implement, and certain actors or certain characters have to fulfill that part properly. If not, leave it alone.
But here's my thing though, right? So it got so going back to the idea of the physique, I don't really stand too strong on the physique part. For here's one reason.
I
If you
know.
look at Guile and you say to yourself, okay, let's look at Guile for a perfect example, his physique. There is no way Guile should be moving as fast as he does with that physique of strength. Because if you find someone as equally same format, it's not gonna happen. So his
That's obvious.
physique, I don't have no problem with the same way as Bison's physique or anybody else's because there's no one you can find on the same muscle mass and move the way they move as it is in the animation. It's not going to be the same. So physique
That's the
part
point.
tends to lower down. So that's not no problem. The problem is now actually looking like the character, moving, being seen as the character. That stuff, that's more of it for me. Bison in that earlier adaptation was off because of some fact that Bison doesn't has any eyes. He literally, when you look at his eyes are blind, fully white. You didn't make him blind. Like it would have been more ideal if he did that in a sense. Just saying, hypothetically. Just saying. Because we don't know exactly what did the Psycho Powers really did. But when you look at the game of the animation, his eyes are literally all fully white. You could say he's blind at that point, supposedly. There's a way to that. But again, it all depends on how that whole, how his
And
whole Psycho Powers work and all that. So I don't know. Can't really
and
say.
here the issue that people didn't need to understand. I mean, I'll say it again. I'll say it before. I'll say it again. The fan base for both Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter is extremely brutal, and forever growing. So you say you're doing a live action movie, and you're doing it for the modern fan, then be careful because a modern fan not gonna be as much as the diehard fan who joined the tribe, and the
Well, of
tribe will
course.
keep on going.
But that's what I'm
So,
saying. Like some of this, it really is. That's what I'm saying. A lot of it is really dependable on how the characters look. Like that's what I'm saying. Some of the characters are very simple to do. Like the suit of Bison was nice. Don't get me wrong. But again, the character.
but
But
that's
and then
why I
again,
said I wish
Guile's
both.
hairstyle is
Uh,
not even possible to be done. Now, if you do a minimal army vet like type of hairstyle,
and
very
you had two
provable.
plus you
I
had two bucket of hair gel.
Pretty much, especially when it comes to Giles' buddy that technically died because of Bison. His hairstyle was way off. Like there was no way
Like
to
I
talk.
said, two bucket of hair gel. Hello.
Apparently, so yeah, very tough. So certain people, certain hairstyles, just
And here's
very,
my question with that Street Fighter
very
character.
tough.
How you have two characters who you two bucket of hair gel and a law in a military base? Ain't that
And this is
contraband?
what I'm saying. The idea of Giles' hairstyle is just literally impossible.
I don't know why Peter shaking his head. That is fact.
I mean,
Two
technically, he did
individual.
lower it. He just styled it.
He styled it, but the way it's being styled, you know he got too much contraband. Everybody, how much women hair gel do you use to do your hair like that? But you know a lot of women complain that they won't find no more of that product in the store because of you.
Hey,
Really.
what I'm saying, part of it just make no sense.
And I can put my book on top of his hair or my plate of food on top of his hair.
And
Really.
and even then going back to it, another character that would be so hard is Zangief because Zangief was literally a towering, muscling giant. How tall is Zangief? Like 7 feet?
My point exactly.
I think so.
That's problematic.
So who do you find who be 7 feet tall and have that huge presence of a hawking Russian bear? He's a bear. Hello.
Shaq. Literally Shaq. You're gonna have a black
Whoa.
freaking Russian today.
Hold on. Are you telling me we'll have Shaq who we put on makeup and make himself look Russian? Okay.
Well,
I gotta see that to believe that.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, unless that you get the dude from the Nuggets basketball team, Joker. With that size of the seat.
Oh, you gotta put a body suit on top of him.
But see, yeah, exactly. You gotta put some muscle in. See what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. It goes a long way.
And this is why we are talking about character in the game that's hard to implement because of the difficulty behind it.
See, and that's what I'm saying. The creators need to stop doing it because it's like, you can only keep it for animation. You jig drug bit too fast, too beyond its sticks. Because other than that, like what? Because then you have to sit and ask yourself, okay, how much pounds does Zangief weigh? Because when you do that, now you have to okay, if you say how much pounds Zangief weighs, now bring it back to humanary size. Okay, that makes one thing, but then let's be real. You look at all that muscle on him. All right. Good luck.
See, this is all the nerdoms. We knew about this. We always said, don't do live action movie on the type of game because if you were to do it, you gonna piss off some people or you gonna piss off a lot of people. Because certain character had to be, I hate to say, you have to be extremely close to it. Because this is a beloved franchise.
That's why I said Tekken and Mortal Kombat just do it better. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Mortal Kombat was probably gonna F up just because of the characters that you had to actually copy. But they did that to perfection. I was like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. Because looking back at that, I'm like, I can't believe how perfect they did this. Because this is strictly up to code.
And Tekken did pretty okay, but the thing is, they wasn't sure if they can make it expansive if they wanted to because there's a budget issue behind it.
Well, of course.
The producer wanted to expand the movie and make it be all the cat. They were like, no, because we need a budget on the game side. The game had a very big budget. Let me put it like that. When you look at all the Tekken franchise and how the game been built over the year, it got better and better and bigger to the point where the graphic of all three games, which I'm putting them into mix, Tekken have a very unique level of graphic being applied onto, and they're using the latest game engine, which is difficult for many game developers to use. They complain about it. It's not flexible to the
Funny,
people because they're learning.
So the last question I have for you guys tonight, we're going to final thoughts after this. If you had one series, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, to play for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Ooh.
Really?
I'm gonna drop the alcohol on the one right now, David.
Let me play this. To the two tribe, I'm not trying to get no trouble in this mess because I know people are trying to put me through. I ain't trying to get jumped by the Mortal Kombat tribe. No, I'm trying to get kidnapped by the Street Fighter tribe.
That'd be for the Harrys, actually.
Screw you.
Okay, look, you go first, David, or what?
Screw you, Wally. I gotta be first. Wow.
I'm asking you if you're gonna go first. Cause I already have mine already thought out.
I'm thinking.
Okay, cool. So look, with the drink with the drink in the sky and a drink down my throat. Look, don't get me wrong, right? Now this is gonna be a little bit of a funny one because you're gonna be like, well, wait a minute, did you choose this?
Show your face. Show your face. That you're gonna do it that way. See the look at the sky.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Hold on, people. This man now asked me to put my face onto the screen.
Cause you'll make that choice. I gotta put my face on the screen to make that choice.
That sounds like you have guilt. I don't have guilt.
To the drink to the sky and drink down your throat. You say, oh well.
No, I didn't say oh well. I said to drink the sky and then drink down my throat. This is what I'm going to say. Okay, now look. Again, drink the sky, drink down my throat. If I had to play one game for the rest of my life, I know this is going to be like contrary because people are going to be like, ain't you starting to defend this thing? Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to go with Street Fighter. And yes, weren't you just defending Mortal Kombat? Yes, I was. But again, we're talking about the whole thing. And as much as I love Mortal Kombat, again, because of knowing what I'm working with Street Fighter, I'm choosing Street Fighter more. Because the one thing is this. If you told me today, reset Street Fighter, because again, to Peter's question earlier about who has more longevity, if they were to reverse Street Fighter and actually clarify a lot of things that a lot of people want to know for sure, because a lot of people want to know, is Ryu Akuma's son? I'm sorry. Wait. Yeah. Is Ryu Akuma's son? Yeah. Because a lot of people be thinking that is literally his son. Because based upon how it's been told and based upon how it's been shown, a lot of people are putting that together. Literally, a lot of people putting that together. Especially since you ask yourself, well, where did Ryu get it if Akuma has it? So with that said, yeah, I'm keeping that alive. Thank you very much.
All right,
Ah,
UK, you're up.
Sorry?
Drink
You're up.
up.
Which one? What one game would be your last game in your life you played? Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? Yeah, pick one.
Mortal Kombat.
That was fast. All right, let's get our final thoughts.
Mine, drink up, drink down my throat. Don't come and shoot me.
He's picking Mortal Kombat.
No, Street Fighter.
Oh, okay, I'm surprised for all this brutal. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, I love both games, but I don't want neither of the game to come and catch me on the next Comic Con. I heard you say, hey, don't blame it on me. I'll grab Peter and say he started this match. You hold on him responsible.
So you picked Street Fighter, you said?
No, I'm picking Mortal Kombat. I was just thinking
Not
when
you,
I was
David.
talking
I was
about
talking
the
to David.
game earlier on,
Craig,
when
you
it was on the
referring to me.
PS1.
Yeah.
You referring to me, good Street Fighter, because I'm saying that it's the same storyline where he's talking about.
So David, next year for Comic Con, I'm gonna print your shirt that says CBN loves Street Fighter, hates Mortal Kombat.
You see what this guy do right now? At least we had
You print
audio
out his shirt, he
evidence.
doesn't need to get away.
At least we have audio evidence what he planned to do.
Well, he's gonna have to wear it while he has no choice.
Don't worry. We have audio evidence and video evidence. He said it. So I'll drag you in the midst. I'll say, hey, he started this match. You talk to him about it.
Hey, you're wearing it, not me. All right, let's get our final thoughts. David, you go first. Wally second. Greg's last.
My final thought. This is a very unique conversation. They go going on every year because they're like, I can't say mirror, but it's a yin to the yang. Street Fighter with Mortal Kombat. They started the fighting industry from the very beginning, and there's many other fighting games that came afterward, but it could not get the type of heat that Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat was able to accomplish over the year. So this will be an ongoing story. It's a standard. I hate to say it is a standard to any future fighting game that comes out, because if you cannot build a game as good as these two, don't do it. Don't be like Virtua Fighter who tried to and dropped the ball too many times. It's not needed. So this will always be a forever debate, discussion among the gaming community, among the nerd community, and as well among the anime community as well, because we all talk about this. That is why every year it will be something different depending on what comes out at that moment. Who do well, who did not. Other than that, it is a excellent concept to dive into. If you are a historian, if you are a gamer, and you are expert in those areas, it needs to be had. That's my final thought.
All right, so first and foremost, my final thoughts. I already know Deb's gonna tell me get your butt on the screen again to make your final comments, so you can just be heard, so then they can see it and be shaking your head while they look at me say these things. Give me a moment once again. Okay, look, yeah, Mortal Kombat for Street Fighter. I mean, automatically, if I had to say which one is better, just because of aesthetics of gaming, Mortal Kombat. Movies that were done well against Mortal Kombat. If I had to walk away with one though, because of potential, I'll say Street Fighter. Why? Because if you would have made a third challenge, aka, well, Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat versus, if you would have put Tekken in there, again, Tekken is just, I think, the more better, fluent across the board, all categories, in most cases. Why? Because again, you want to talk about toxicity. You want to know what the worst toxicity when it comes to gaming ever is when you got to play Tekken. Because the moment you get on a roll with those combos, game over. You may as well. You want to talk about throwing a controller? That wall will be having prints on top of prints on top of prints of controllers being crashed on that wall, door, whatever you can sling it, because you're just going to be pissed at the fact that you can't stop the combos. Especially if you got an Eddie control. People want to talk about Chang Li? No, forget it. Eddie, game over. You may as well just throw it away. Throw your whole life away. You find someone that knows how to play Eddie. Throw your whole life away. Throw your whole life away. You are going to be pissed beyond imaginary dreams. Literally.
Facts.
Every single time you fight Eddie, he may as well be in your nightmare telling you, take that, take that, take that. Every single time. Every single time.
Don't forget the other character in Tekken.
Which one?
The old school guy with a dog and a stick. How he was broken and they had to nerf him.
The dog and the stick. Okay, I'm gonna have to remember what that character
He looked like he did Wong Chu. He looked like he had dreadlocks. He had a walking stick and he had a dog. They nerfed him because he was broken just like Eddie.
I'm gonna have to remember that character. But yeah. But again, you want to talk about toxicity. I swear to you, Tekken was a pain in the ass. And to be honest, I just remember this. The only game that was ever more closer to Tekken, in my honest opinion, was never Virtual Fighters. Because honestly, Dead or Alive was closer. Just want to throw that out there. Dead or Alive was a little bit more closer. Well, hey, I can't speak to why. Like I said, that's just gonna be mine. Because personally, the storyline, everything else implemented, and all that, it just came full to fruition. So, yeah. Enough said. I'm out.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Game and movie, Mortal Kombat, brilliant. Never saw a Street Fighter game, a movie, but the game, if you ever want to play it, start on the Super Nintendo, the Sega Mega Drive. That's my final thoughts. Sorry.
Thanks, guys, for coming up tonight. It was interesting conversation, like always. So let's do a quick schedule update. Tomorrow on Gray Area, we're talking about jealousy. Me and Paul are gonna shoot the shit with it, and see where it goes. And on Tuesday, we're gonna be talking about. Yeah, fuck me, David. You ready for this one? Do men forget how to talk to women?
That's David all over.
Really? Are we going to deal with this topic whereby the whole entire YouTube space, both black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever, have been going on and on and on for who knows how long with this topic?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
So, and on Tuesday, you guys are talking about that big three.
Tuesday, I thought it was Wednesday.
Wednesday. I'm sorry. Wednesday. I'm sorry.
Wednesday, I'm hoping that people will come in because the past few shows we have been diving into the foundation of the anime community, what built it for what it is right now, and I'm finding that not too many people are coming out to see this video, but they think they know anime like we do. They just let me know they don't know much about anime if they have not done these type of homework like we are doing. But there is a big deal behind these things, and this on Wednesday's show. Or we will do a breakdown to dispute whatever shenanigan, whatever nonsense that been put out there, and we will be playing some of the, if we can find those annoying clips, because there are people experiencing nonsense that yet they want to do their homework. Like, don't come to a class and not do your coursework properly. Then we'll give you an F for less effort. Like, come on. You see how we going about it? Deeply doing Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat kind of thing. We do the same thing here when we come to the anime unlock. No anime is safe. We're not being biased about it, but we call out what it is. So bring your thinking cap, bring your argument, bring your debate, bring your point of view, and we will either support it, dispute it, or we smash it. Either of the three.
And with that said, for the Big Three dynasty, so pretty much, if you come to that show, it's just a coverage throughout the years of what would be considered the Big Three across the years of anime itself from its entirety of when it's been alive. So that's going to just be that.
And it'll be a breakdown of the timeline based on how it's considered to be the Big Three. So you cannot change it. You cannot say, "Oh, that's not the case." You don't have a say in it. Because one of the creator of Bleach recently had enough of all these so-called new fans who got an issue, and he gave a mouthful that
well, Okay, well, I'm gonna put this other caveat in here. So when we break down, if I'm able, neither you or me or both, however, well, no, neither you or both, if I'm able to be around. So put it like this: the timing tables of it will be pretty much like, for instance, if anime started around this timeline, then it's like from this of a 10-year gap, it's gonna be intervals from that 10-year gap. So of course, the early 2000s all the way to 2010s, that's that lock in. Anything past in like 2010s to 2020s, that's another lock in. Anyone stays into that round. You don't flex in more. So if anyone's talking about, oh yeah, well, in the big three, aka the original big three, aka the 2000s, which is really originally started as far as the name title. If you think Bleach is going to be outcast by anybody else, no, it will never be outcast because again, most of you guys do not have the longevity. You do not have the longevity, and that's in manga. That's in anything else. You do not have the longevity over the main three. The whole caveat started. So you do not have the longevity. You cannot get in. There is qualifications. You do not meet those. Stay in your timeline.
And that's why we want to. That's why we having this podcast for really Anime Unlock to dispute the shenanigans that have been put out there for a while, and no one want to do their actual homework. So we're not doing the homework ourselves. So we dig into the if we had to pull in articles from the creator themselves, what's being said, what have been considered to be their voices, because let's be real, they created the franchise that we are watching and enjoying today. So we don't have a say in it unless we contribute to it. But at the same token, this is a global thing. It's not an American thing.
Well, yeah, but even then, it's like there's still qualifications based upon why they're there in the first place.
True.
So again, it's like most people ain't gonna get over and say this need to be over Bleach. I'm like, if it needed to be over it, it would have been done that. Why hasn't it? Because there's nothing within the timeline of them when they got to the TV series, let alone to even the mangas. 2000s, well, yeah, TV series. Well, I'm even gonna say 2000s, even up to 2010s. No one else came through. They were the top three shows. They had the whole thing locked down. The only one that was any more penetrating over them a little bit was just Dragon Ball for the simple fact that it renewed it through Kai and it was still alive at that point. Other than that, miss me.
That works for me.
And that's the thing. That's why we're doing what we're doing right now, because we have to dispute the shenanigans, we have to dispute the false information, and we need to put things in perspective. So we're gonna keep doing that. And I'm thinking going forward, we start posting all our chart, our presentation. I think we'll start posting them on the Spot HQ Network post so people can look at it for themselves and see for themselves. If they had a feel concerned about it, they can voice their opinion behind that. I think I'll start doing that going forward. Either while they said no work to me, I can start posting them up and put a summary based
I'm gonna
on
have to check
which
how
one?
much can be
Discord?
posted. No, he's talking about the channel post.
because all the work we've been doing so far, I'm showing that some people have not done their homework like we have been doing our homework as of lately, because the anime community is no joke. It is not. It is
All right.
deep. But hey.
So, and Coach and Paul will be talking about the power of networking. And I know I haven't posted because I screwed up the dates. So we will have a show next Saturday. I'm going back and forth between the history of Battlefield or White House Down versus Olympus Has Fallen. So you never seen those movies, bro?
The history.
The history of Battlefield, the game.
Okay.
That's one. Or I'm gonna move to the show, do White House Down versus Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, those two movies have a similar concept.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I want to do it. I think it'd be a great conversation piece for us.
I might do my homework on that one because we're doing so much homework on the anime part of things. Because when you find out you have
that's one homework you need to do. It's nothing crazy.
Hello. When you find out anime have 430 production studios, you know how much digging around that do?
Grab a shovel.
Okay, there.
All right, except that, guys. This was the Spartan SU Network. I am the Spartan. He is Baby Bear. He is Wally, and our boy
Bear
UK.
paw.
Will you done?
I'm a 6 foot, 290 pound bear. Yes,
He's a
bear
teddy
paw.
bear.
There's
No,
nothing
his name is
baby.
Groot.
Ladies and gentlemen, all I have to sit here and say is just wait till Sunday because it's gonna be interesting how they're gonna talk about jealousy in a gray area point because I want to see how this is
Before I
official.
forget, thank you for reminding me, Wally. Guys, I have a couple of announcements. We are expecting a minimum of 4 guests coming up the show. I'm not gonna say who. You just have to wait till they're posted. They're being confirmed and locked in. Most of these guys, so they'll be coming on the show very soon. I am working on some other guests on top of that. So Spartan's work is an overflow after Comic Con.
And we are trying to grow the
Okay.
network. So we're looking for people to join the network on different shows. We need a couple of females on the anime side of things. So it won't be too masculine. No, too much testosterone up in here.
AKA, he just don't want to go on the other side of the network because he knows it's too much for him. Stop.
He's
Complaining.
scared to talk about Sailor Moon. So the next round, David, you won't have a choice. I'm posting that.
I mean, wait, what?
Any lady content creator who would have you on anime, please join the show. Please
I
join
just
us,
asked his
please.
wife if she likes anime, and she's like, no.
I invite Mitty Lucas onto the show too as well. Bring her expert opinion about certain anime. It will be
Hey,
entertaining
she would
and,
kick my backside.
and it'll be educational because it's good to have that discussion.
Will be
Because
talked about later down the stretch, please and thank you.
don't worry about it. I'm just being honest.
No, when I said later down the stretch, I was talking about like later down the stretch because it was never going to be selected yet. That is a particular IP I wish to say.
Because there's a lot of female anime that we have to review sooner or later, but I would feel funny about it. That's why I don't want to be too biased.
Right, that's why you choose Kill Kill over.
Anyway, guys, as always, this was the Spartan SU Network. I am the Spartan. He is
Bear paw.
Paul.
Bear paw. There ain't nothing baby
Baby
about
Bear.
Groot.
Wally,
It's Groot.
UK. As always, guys, stay fresh,
Nothing
stay
baby about
safe, and I'll
this.
see you guys on the next one.